सवाल, आपने गोल सेट किए बट कुछ टाइम बाद क्लैरिटी या कंसिस्टेंसी लूज हो गई, क्यों होता है ऐसा? हेलो एवरीवन, वेलकम टू टॉक विद कोच श्वेता बजाज. आई एम श्वेता बजाज. फ्रॉम 12 प्लस ईयर्स आई एम इनटू कोचिंग, कंसल्टिंग एंड ट्रेनिंग. और आज के स्पीकर हमारे साथ है मिताक्षरा, और हम बात करने वाले हैं मास्टर गोल सेटिंग यूजिंग एनएलपी एंड टैरो एंड डिफरेंट स्किल्स फॉर लीडर्स एंड प्रोफेशनल्स. सिंपल बात है, प्रॉब्लम्स गोल में नहीं होती, प्रॉब्लम्स अलाइनमेंट में होती है. अगर आपका माइंड, इमोशंस और डिसीजंस अलाइन नहीं है तो रिजल्ट भी स्कैटर होंगे. एनएलपी आपका थिंकिंग पैटर्न चेंज करता है और टैरो आपको क्लैरिटी देता है राइट डिसीजंस लेने का. और डेटा के अनुसार ये पाया गया है कि लोग वीडियो देखते हैं लेकिन सब्सक्राइब नहीं करते हैं. तो हम चाहेंगे कि आप सब्सक्राइब करें, लाइक करें और हमें फीडबैक दें ताकि हम अच्छा से अच्छा कंटेंट टॉक विद कोच श्वेता बजाज प्लेटफॉर्म पर आपके लिए ला सकें. तो एक सवाल खुद से पूछना स्टार्ट करो, क्या क्या ये गोल सच में मेरा है? दिस इज कोच श्वेता बजाज. सी यू इन द सेशन. Welcome everyone to the LinkedIn live show. Again, we have with us another experienced, exciting speaker, Mitakshara. Today, we are going to talk on wonderful topic, very common topic, which is goal setting. Everyone talk about goal setting. Right goal setting, till now, no one knows how to set it. Today with us, Mitakshara. I want to introduce Mitakshara. She is corporate trainer, growth coach, tarot consultant. Can you imagine? Leaders can also get benefit out of tarot. And she has total experience of 14 plus years. And she's an NL practitioner as well. Mitakshara, welcome to the Pro Impact Trainings and this LinkedIn Live session.
Thank you so much, Shweta. Thank you so much for having me on this show. And it's a pleasure to talk to the people out here on the very common topic of goal setting. And of course, today we are going to dig a little deeper and go beyond those typical smarter goals. So yes, let's begin. Thank you so much once again.
Thank you. I'm so excited because sometimes we know goal setting. Everyone, know want to set goals. Even in New Year, we also set goals. In every way, in birthday also we set goals. When we become leaders, when we are professionals who want to transition into leadership roles, we set goals. Now here it comes into KPIs, OKRs, like we need to achieve profit. So according to you, Mitakshara, what is real goal setting?
All right. So first and foremost, let's begin with the smarter goals. You have the typical specific, measurable, achievable, time bound, relevant, and then the evaluated and the redefined goals. Okay. So what happens is whenever we are doing goal setting, one has to have a very clear purpose in the mind as to why we are doing this. Now, organizations will have all the bigger goals, which are again cascaded, like you have got long term goals, mid term goals, short term goals, and based on that, you will have something which are the actionable items. Now, on organization levels, these goals are going to be matched with their corporate and the business strategy. Okay. Similarly, the goals which are cascaded to the organizational teams and the individual business units, they will be based on their own respective performance criteria. So back when I was working as a project manager in a pharmaceutical company, we were told that okay, you need to set your own goals, and for us, our goals for how many strategic level meetings of the project we will be undertaking. For a different department, for them the goals were like for a formulation department, they were like how many formulations will they develop up to the lab scale and how many formulations they will scale up for the long term manufacturing batches.
Right.
Now, everything depends upon number one, the industry you are in, second, the company that you belong to, and of course, the company's growth goals and growth plans and all the values and mission vision that we talk about. Yeah, and now when we try to cascade them to individual levels, everything is going to depend upon how the entire dynamics work in an organization. Okay, so coming to your question as to how to set the right goals, always it has to be purpose driven. Now, today, I think the focus would be more on the personal aspects. We won't be talking about organizational goals as such. So, whenever there are leadership goals, obviously there will be external goals that for by this date or by this quarter, my team should achieve so and so targets, or my team
Sure.
should be able to perform better. and I will be able to deliver more as per the targets that have been given to me. But what happens on a personal level? On a personal level, we have another set of goals, one which fall into the professional criteria, and the second which are going to fall on the personal front. Like you may have health goals, you may have relationship goals, and everything. So if you really look at an individual's life, we are going to tackle multiple goals together, and how the goals will be set, how the goals will be met, what kind of actions will be taken will all depend upon the individual persona, the individual personality traits. And that, having said that,
Yes.
when I do coaching, I look at, of course,
Mhm.
I've mentioned in my profile that I'm a tarot consultant, so I look at the astro profiles based on the life path number, the personality number, and the rising sign, moon sign, sun sign. But along with that, a very important aspect that one must not forget is what is the internal motivation and how they react to it, and that comes from the values and the beliefs that they hold.
Very important concept you have mentioned here. Individual goals should be aligned, and you have also mentioned here different aspects. I personally believe in well-being, life cycle. There are 8 areas, financial well-being, social well-being, intellectual well-being, physical well-being, lots of, personal perspective. When you mention about values, beliefs, it's very important to align it. So, how someone can align with their values?
Surely. So now let's talk about the different types of values which we usually look at. And I'm sure even when you coach individuals and when I coach individuals, we are also asking questions as to what is meaningful to them. Now, some people might say financial freedom, some people might say self-respect, some people may say work-life balance. For some families are there. Now, these values are again shaped by the resources and constraints and what kind of situation and what kind of background they come from. Now, somebody who has got huge number of assets and a lot of generational wealth, for them, financial goal may be one of the aspects. For them, maybe exploring the world or giving back to the society could be one. But somebody who is from a middle class background, for them, they will say that, fine, I need to secure myself first. For me, financial freedom and financial stability is more important. So there is where, when we look at goal setting and when I coach people, I'm going to ask them what makes the most sense to you. What is most important to you? Is it finance? Is it the position? Is it the recognition, public image? Or is it that, fine, if you're paid enough money but you have your peace of mind as well, that will give you a lot of happiness. Because after all, happiness and success, this is extremely subjective to people. So we have to ask
True.
people, what is your definition of happiness or success? you know so when we come to values and beliefs, all these things become important. Now, if you ask me personally, people there are so many friends of mine who have reached the level of directors and deputy general managers and those kind of levels in the corporate. Now, I left the corporate world back in 2018. So for me, the goal was never to go to a particular higher designation like the vice president or anything else. For me, the value was that, okay, I would want to work independently. I would like to work in the field which I like. At the same time, the money would be given to me, and of course, freedom and flexibility. So these are my goals. For somebody else, it could be, fine. I will work in a 9 to 5 job. I'm getting paid enough money, and then after that, I just quit. I just leave from my job and pay attention to my family. Now, again, these goals also change according to different life cycle stages. A person who's just a fresher, a graduate, a fresh pass out, for them, they will be like, hey, I'm going to be a go getter. I am going to be the vice president. I want to reach to the top. I want to head my department, take the company to the next level. But what happens when you start getting a reality check, when you start adjusting, when you start looking at your own responses in the environment, there is where you start really looking at things as to, hey, this is not matching my inner core values. कुछ तो गड़बड़ है, कुछ तो सही नहीं लग रहा है. And there is where you start looking at aspects, like you start asking questions, am I in the right place? Is this really going to be worth? And post 30, this is mostly I've seen my clients when they come to me for tarot questions. Post 30, their thought process is way too different than what it would have been, what it was rather in their early 20s. वो जो जोश होता है, that energy, that passion, that courage, that zeal, enthusiasm, that has changed, and now they will start looking towards their core values, will start cropping up. And now everything will, depends upon how the person is made up, depending upon how they communicate even within themselves. Yeah, and that's how it is.
Very important point, alignment with your values, beliefs, identity, purpose, passion, uh, goals should be aligned. Now, as you mentioned, every person has different priorities and size of goals can be different. So how to define that size of goal? Because sometimes we aim for the moon and we never reach star also. Sometimes that also happen. There is, we need to align it in the right way. How to do that?
Okay, so this goal size should be decided based on the resources that you have, what place you're starting at, what is your level at you which you're starting at, and what are the constraints that you need to wade through.
Mhm.
See, now typically an entrepreneur would want to achieve a goal. Let's say I want to earn 1 CR, 1 crore. Okay,
Mm.
there are maybe a couple of entrepreneurs, there'll be a couple of independent consultants like you and me also who will say that okay, my goal is reaching 1 crore. That 1 crore can be achieved by one individual within 6 months, by another individual in, let's say, 5 years. Now that
True.
again depends upon what are they delivering, what are they working, do they have enough resources to work on that, and also what are the roadblocks they need to first tackle to reach those goals. Okay, now if I have to give another example, and this is something which I used to talk about entrepreneurial goal setting sessions
Mhm.
in my mentoring activities with the MSMEs long back.
Mhm.
There is where a person might say that okay, my goal is to have a team of 50 people. The question is, how will you manage 50 people? Do you have a big office where you can manage that? Or you plan to say that, okay, people are going to work hybrid? Any which ways, the answer cannot be yes and no, right or wrong. It's not black and white. It is all
Mhm.
depending upon the circumstances. For a person who cannot have hybrid setting, they want to have everybody in the office location. There will be an interim goal that first build an office where people can sit properly. Another interim goal would be to sustain 50 people. You will have to pay salaries to those 50 people. And that's why your business should be of a certain level, wherein instead of expanding your team size rapidly, you will first want to go stepwise. So that is where the goal sizing matters, how big you should set your goals and how quickly you want to achieve them. Because if you set the goals which are too high, or if you're going to try to achieve that big speed in a very short time, it might end up burning you out. And when those enormous goals that you have set do not get achieved, you are bound to feel demotivated, and eventually, if this keeps on happening over and over again, the individuals will feel mentally drained, and it impacts the well-being, because that's what we need to focus on, right? Well-being, that's very
Absolutely.
important.
Very, very important. And here, as a founder, as a coach and consultant, I know, when we set a, I have seen lots of founders who started their startup and they just drop out because they have set some goals they don't achieve, and then they found, okay, it's not for me. Back to that road. And you mentioned very well here capability, build capability and what resources you have. That is a very important concept. Now managing oneself become very important in this journey. So how can someone deal with stakeholders, management of time, management of resources? So what strategy they can follow?
Okay, now here I'm going to talk a little bit about the project management concepts. Okay,
Sure.
now why goal setting and project management are very much interrelated, they have like the hand and glove kind of relationship, is because every the definition of project is anything that has a start and an end. Okay, so if we differentiate projects and operations, projects are going to be temporary, they have a start and an end, whereas operations will be going on for forever till the life cycle of the project or the service that you're offering. Now,
Right.
when you set a project goal, that is the end objective, you are going to break them down to smaller deliverables, and each deliverable will be given an interim deadline, a milestone to achieve. Now, this is a practice which has been followed by all the organizations who are following the project management methodology, whether it is agile or waterfall. But
Yeah.
if you really look at the human life, our own lives, you will notice that everything is applicable to us on a personal front as well. Now, if I have to talk about extreme personal aspects like losing weight, okay, can you, and coming, going back to the goal sizing, is it possible for a person who is 85 kgs, who is slightly overweight? I'm not talking about the height, weight, I'm not getting into the BMI specifics here, but a person who is 85 and they are not supposed to be 85, for them the ideal weight is supposed to be around 62, between 58 and 62 kgs. Do
Mm-hmm.
you think it will be possible for them to do a crash diet and get it done in just 1 month? Hmm. Okay. So, when we talk about well being and all these things, you need to really focus on a structured approach. You need to break it down. 1 month will be too ambitious and an impossible kind of goal. And even if you do achieve, you're doing it the wrong way. You know, there is one particular statement which I made very, very long time ago, long back. That was, if whatever, the faster it gains, the quicker it drains. The longer it takes, forever sustains.
True.
You know, so anything that you want to build in a sustainable manner, it has to be done in a slow and steady manner, in a very, very structured way, so that it is not just a balloon. It's not just very, very inflated.
Mm.
Otherwise, it is bound to collapse. Okay. The same thing happens when we talk about other aspects, like maybe now when we talk about leadership. Now, leadership, there is communication, there is decision making, there is everything. Now, before they really go to that particular state, they will have to do a lot of inner deep work. How they take decisions, what are their conflict management profiles, are they taking decisions based on someone else's opinions and judgments, or are they doing it in a most logical fashion? You know, something which came across, I read in one of the social media posts, that you cannot find yourself by using the map made by the others. And that really hit me hard. You know, that is where you need to first identify yourself. And even when you are setting goals, you need to first see whether you are able to achieve those goals in the fashion which the environment permits. And there is where resilience is required. At some points you may be able to fire up your energy and step out of your comfort zone and achieve those goals which are there. But then later on you also need to check whether you are doing it, and after doing it, how do you feel? Do you feel extremely drained? Do you feel motivated? Do you feel as if this is not matching with your inner core values or beliefs, whatever it is? Does this answer your question, Shweta?
Absolutely. I mean, it's a deep thought which you have bring to the stage here, that person to should align their goals with their values, and whenever they are setting their goals, it's very important that they should know what they are setting, whether they have to reach it or not. And here, when I say time management, you in between mentioned well-being. Then time
Hmm.
management of and also emotion management. Emotional intelligence is
Absolutely.
also very important in this goal setting. What is your
So
perspective on this part? Yeah.
yes. So thank you for bringing this out, because this is again a connected topic here. So time
Yeah.
management, stakeholder management. Once when you set your goals, then your focus should be laser sharp. Then you have to be very, very dedicated. So because like what happens is, in project management, we are taught about stakeholder management, where we are supposed to push some stakeholders to do their bit, bring them into the stage where they can agree with us, and they can with the help of their skill sets and talents, will be they can contribute to the bigger for the higher good. And there are some stakeholders whom you need to keep at bay depending upon their interests and their powers,
Hmm.
because there is a power interest grid which we talk about in stakeholder management. Time
I agree.
management, how are you really focusing your time and energy in doing your bit, in doing your deliverables? Now what happens is, when you said emotions, that is a very important thing, and most of the time it gets neglected. So in time management, one of our professors in IIM Lucknow, where I took the strategic leadership and business excellence course back in
Mm-hmm.
2019, he said that sitting idle is also an operation. Why? Because the resource called time is getting used. Now, whether you bring out something productive or not, that is a different question. So here, if while achieving one particular goal, you are thinking of something which you are not able to control, you're wasting your time and thinking, your emotions. So these intangibles which you cannot touch and feel, like emotions, this the energy that is spent, that is also going to contribute to your resources that you're putting in. And that is where you have to first ask yourself what is important. Once your goals are set, once you're convinced that hey, this is what I need to achieve, then it is better for us to really focus. Because there are so many cases where and it happens with us as well, right? We are all human beings, that we know where we want to go, but there are detours based on how people will come in our lives and how they will try to influence our psyche, or they will try to take our time, take our resources, so that their purpose is served. And there is where you need to really identify who is important to you and who is not. So, at the cost of sounding a bit rigid, sometimes you really have to take decisions that, hey, I cannot let certain types of individuals enter the boundaries of my life beyond a certain limit. Otherwise, it's going to be harmful for me. And on this note, let me share with you a personal experience. In 2023, I had gone to Pune for some important meeting, and the meeting went on very nicely. And I was in that euphoric mode. I was really, really happy, and I wanted to end the day with enjoying those moments. Because let me ask you something, and let me ask this to all the viewers here. How much of time do
Right.
we really spend in enjoying and acknowledging what we've achieved? Because that is
Well,
also
if
a factor, right? So
very much.
I had come back to my hotel room. I was a bit exhausted, physically drained, because I had traveled and I had spoken a lot. And I just wanted to sit back with my cup of tea and just relax in my hotel room. And a phone rang. I got a phone call from an acquaintance, and she started cribbing and crying. So now, in that process, I said, fine, she's an acquaintance, I must help her. And because I've been a tarot reader, I get a lot of questions. She started crying and she was talking about this problem, that problem, etc., etc., etc. And then I tried to pacify her. I spent 90 minutes on the call with her. And after the call got over, after I had to excuse myself for dinner, I went on to think, did I really have to take that call? Am I not doing injustice to myself by giving my leisure time to somebody else? This may sound selfish, but sometimes it is necessary, because you work so hard for yourself. And even business owners, they work so hard for themselves to take the companies up, so they deserve a timeout. So my little fun fact here is that if you have reserved a time for watching a movie or spending time with your family, make sure you make it a task. Even enjoyment and relaxation and rejuvenation should be a task. And there is where time management is important. And I have a
Wow,
friend,
point.
a business owner, a friend of mine, who himself has been a crucial factor, along with my parents, to into motivating me to start my own stuff. He pushed me that, hey, quit your job and start your things. It will take time, but it will be fruitful. He said that things are not working fine for me right now. I said, no, things are working fine for me. It is just that you need to slow down. You need to enjoy what you have. Come spend some time, take that vacation, and all these things. So this is again very very important in time management, because that is a time you are using to rejuvenate yourself, to recharge your batteries, so that you can perform better the next day.
A very
And there
important
is
point you have.
stakeholder management, and there is where stakeholder management becomes important.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, and when you mention here giving time to your own self, people are not giving. And very true, as a founder, like founders, what they do work and work, meetings and meetings to take it up. And that time, and then later on, they have to spend certain time for their well-being when their body tells them, okay, now it's the time to take some rest. So, very important point you have picked up here.
Correct. And of course, I mean, when we talk about time management and stakeholder management, there is something called the RASI matrix, which we look at when it comes to
Right.
organizational project management, where it is just very fair for every stakeholder to know when and how much of their time they are supposed to put in. Right. So that is not
Hmm.
going to be applicable here. But here, even in personal life, you know that, okay, fine. If I am going to meet somebody at 6 p.m. today, right, let me not keep that person waiting, so I'll have to arrange my other activities before, so that I do justice to the other person, because that is how you are going to strengthen your relationship with other people.
Yes. Prioritize other people time and your own time is very important.
Absolutely.
And as you mentioned, like different metrics are there, like delete, delegate, how you need to prioritize your tasks. People do certain things. Here, as you mentioned, emotions, we have mentioned time management. As I'm into NLP, you are also into NLP. So I
Yes.
want to pick certain things from NLP, neuro linguistic programming,
Hmm.
where thoughts management and emotions, everything matters. So you want to relate this goal setting to the NLP?
Of course, of course. So in NLP, the seven or six to seven layer pyramid called a DILT pyramid, right? It
Right.
starts with purpose at the top, followed by identity. Then you have your
Mhm.
values, belief systems. Then you have your capabilities, the behaviors, and the environment. So
Right.
actually, if you really go and look at the analogy, or the very deep rooted connection, you will get to know that, okay, fine. If I have to achieve now let us look at overall life goals. Sometimes you want to achieve certain things, and you know that they are also aligned with your values. But then to achieve certain things, and if you know that this is a point that you need to go to, are you in the right environment? Number one, is the environment supporting you, or it is creating problems for you? And
Mm.
sometimes what happens when individuals are in certain environments, they are bound to develop themselves in a certain way, which may not be the best thing overall in a holistic fashion. And there is where, when they try to focus themselves on things which are not actually aligned with their top four elements, that is where
Mm.
the internal stress starts coping up. Okay.
Yes, yes, it
now
is. It is.
somebody
It's,
now for example, somebody who says that, hey, I want to earn a lot of money, and they say that, hey, I also want to open up an NGO. Do you think this is going to match? Because NGOs are usually from the corporate social responsibility types. So
yes,
yeah, but then what happens? It's not like while earning money you should not focus on NGO. That's not what I'm trying to say. It is just that you will need to then differentiate. You will have to distribute your time, energy, resources. That, okay, this much I'm going to do for money, and this much I'm going to do for giving back to the society. Okay, so
very
when
important point.
because there are
Prioritization.
different set of goals, so you can't have two things. Sometimes people do also do make that mistake of trying to club two three things together in the same journey, and that is not the most prudent thing to do. So
Yeah,
today,
I have.
I'm also a startup mentor right now, and I do get just couple of days back. I was one of the judges for evaluating startup ideas by college students, and that
Mhm.
is where, by the way, they were wonderful ideas. People had actually worked on some prototypes in the college laboratories, and they had come up with some business models and all. But there were some people who were also saying that, hey, I want to give back to. I cannot really discuss the details right now, but something of the sort that they wanted to do something good for the society, right? So then, if you're starting an initiative for the good of the society, it may not be possible for you to mint money out of that, because your main goal is to you know, do the betterment, make improvement to someone's life, to make a difference.
Hmm.
And similarly, the same thing I would like to talk about, and because you and I are in the coaching field, tell me something. How many times do we hear statements like, "Hey, you know what? I want to make a difference in someone else's life, and I want to become rich by that."
Yeah, they don't know actually. Yes, same. As a coach, when I train people and coach people, they say that they want to earn. They are not able to speak up. The that barrier is there, and then I say, okay, you have to prioritize. When you are adding value, you should ask for value back, because it's a value
Correct.
exchange kind of thing.
Correct.
And they think, okay, no, it's like I'm not able to talk. I'm not able to speak at that moment. It's about like a society welfare. Very true point you have picked up.
And so that's why whenever you are deciding your several goals, you should have internal clarity for yourself.
True.
You know, so you can say that, oh, fine, I am doing this activity because my goal for this particular activity is so and so, and I'm also doing another activity which I have prioritized because that satisfies the other values of my life. And sometimes you have to, sometimes you have to push something on the back burner, because like we said, the resources and the constraints, sometimes your resources and time is the biggest resource, which is always going to be no, a not unlimited, rather it is always going to be limited. And that is a resource which once when lost is lost. See, a person sitting on stock market daily, they can make a loss today, they can recover it by earning double based on the market conditions, but time lost is lost. So and that's why you should be very very focused when it comes to spending time towards specific goals.
Hmm.
The better focused we are, the better we work with clarity, better we are at time management. That is what I feel.
Yes, find your focus. That is a tagline I can say, which is very important to find your right goals and make right goals. Then action. Taking action is also very important. Now here, NLP you have shared. You are also into tarot. You are expert in that. I want to know more about like how leaders can get benefit, because it's a new concept for me. I have studied this tarot and astrology, psychology. Yeah, so I want you to reflect on this.
Okay. So I'm going to give you an example of a case which I had long back. Now, this was a lady who was quite entrepreneurial, and there are some serial entrepreneurs, as we see, that they don't stop after starting one venture. They'll start one venture, make it sustaining, and then they will jump another, and they'll have two, three other things happening, right? So one such person had come to me and said that, you know what, I want to start my new thing. I'm already into digital marketing services, and now I want to open an eatery outlet. Okay, way too different, where even your resources may not be shared.
Hmm.
So she said, "How is my time going to be?" I said, "See, no." Her question was, "Should I open this? How successful will I be in this?"
Hmm.
Her card showed that yes, she will be successful, but her personality analysis told me that she is more aggressive kind of a person, where once she decides something with robust planning, she will go all in, and she will ensure that she wins the war. These people are like the emperors. They will prepare, they will go into the battle, and they'll win the war. But
Hmm.
her time also, the cycle that she was going through, the life phase cycle that she was going through, that suggested that things are not going to be very very fast as per her requirement. Okay, so whatever goals she has, please make them a bit relaxed. Do not be under the goal that immediately I want to start something. So the only guidance to her was that while you are setting this goal, you will be successful, no doubt about that, because you have that zeal, you have that passion and that vigor to really go ahead and achieve whatever you want to. But right now it is a time for you to slow down and strategize, rather than taking a hasty decision in times where anyways things won't move forward. So when it comes to the personality analysis, the goals and the current time that they're going through, we have to tell them that look, right now, if you try to keep too ambitious goals, midterm goals, then you're likely to be frustrated because things are not going to move. So this also happens, right? This also
Mm.
happens and this is specifically true for business owners, that a business owner may be extremely industrious and very fast paced. They are energetic, they are fiery, they are quite innovative, and they are also going to be moving around. Their wheel never stops. Now when they are subjected to situations when things are not moving, the impatience within them will start troubling them. Or if they are working with employees, the team members who are robust and slow moving, there could be a conflict in their personalities which can happen, and there is where we tell them that look, this person is actually good. It is just that you need to give them time because they will not be at the same speed as you are working. So there is where that
Yeah,
balancing
exactly.
act again comes into picture. So coming back to the balancing act, if I have to talk about the strengths and the weaknesses, your strengths are your resources. Your weaknesses are your constraints. And these are the internal factors that we are talking about. So for any person, an innovative mindset, an ability to communicate is going to be a strength. But for that person, weakness could be impatience, inability to slow down. That could be the constraint. So
Mm.
they need to work on their constraints. And this was taught to us in the strategic leadership course, that it in the pursuit of growth and excellence, one needs to maximize their resources, build up and encash on the resources, and try to minimize the impact of their weaknesses. And because you said astrology, I had a friend who said that she consulted some astrologer, and she said that her mind is not stable. She's very very innovative. She's quite intelligent as well, and her astrologer said that your mindset doesn't allow you to move beyond a certain level because your attention is diverted too much. You get emotionally
Mm.
troubled, or you get the memories of past coming up in your work because your moon is weak. So because your moon is weak, try to do meditations and just try to calm yourself down, and that will give you a different structure. So for different people, the way to manage their constraints would be different, again depending upon multiple factors, and everything differs. So when people come and say that, hey, you know what, I'm emotionally troubled, do you have any remedies or do you have any gemstones? I said, first of all, I don't recommend gemstones. If you want to wear a gemstone, go to a proper pandit who will guide you. I personally love crystals, but I also take suggestions. Okay, and I cannot give you a generic guidance. I cannot give you, say that, hey, you know what, do this particular thing, or do this remedy and that will help you. No, because sometimes doing a wrong remedy can actually do more damage. So one has to
Got
clearly,
very important point.
you have to dissect everything, and the same thing happens in goal setting. So if somebody comes and asks me that, hey, how should I set my goals, I will have to ask them a lot of questions, starting with the levels of Dilt's pyramid. So
Oh, okay, nice.
the
Mm.
environment can be resourceful, or it can give you constraints. So accordingly, you will possibly need to either change your environment completely or rebalance or readjust your goals. Otherwise you are bound to get stressed.
Yeah. Now I have a curiosity that tarot reading, astrology, you have combined this with leadership, with project
Yes.
management, stakeholder management, lots of things. How you convince people? Because when you sitting in front of senior leaders, CXOs and founders, even stakeholders, and you are telling, okay, tarot can also help. They already know lots of frameworks, SWOT analysis, and lots of things. Why they need tarot reading, and how you convince? Because I also myself, if I have to enroll someone, okay, they can help with tarot reading. I'm critical. I mean, whether it's important or not. Yeah, tell me.
Okay, so number one, tarot helps you to deep dive within yourself. Number one. Second is tarot also
Mm-hmm.
helps you to identify certain things which are not apparently visible, and also get a fair understanding about certain things which are happening behind your back. Okay, and there
How
is
someone
where,
can trust them?
so see, coming again, now people come with different levels of trust. I have clients who say that, hey, I really completely trust tarot, and I'm convinced by the way you speak. So please, let's have a session. There are these kind of
Mm-hmm.
people with whom it is easy for me. It's fairly easy for me to talk because they are already open. Then there are some clients who will say that, hey, I don't really believe in all this, but let me try. So with them, I have to talk to them and make them understand that, look, tarot is not a party trick. It is not like some auntie or uncle opening up a table in some shadi wedding, or some event which is there. This is going to be a deep rooted thing where you and I
Right.
are going to have dialogues. And once when we
Mm-hmm.
actually open up, when we actually start discussing certain things, and once when through the cards and through the personality analysis, when I ask questions, and then they say that, hey, yeah, you're right, that is the turning point where they start opening up to you. Now I have another example here. Long back, I was empaneled on Astro Yogi as a tarot reader, and one person came to me and said that, I want to change my job, and please tell me within the 6 months whether will I get a job opportunity or not. Okay. And I said that, look, let's check. And I asked him questions. So there is a rapport building exercise that we do. And this is very important in
True.
neuro linguistic programming, right? Where people can drop their guards
Very
and
true.
they're opening up to you. So I asked him,
Mm-hmm.
why do you want to change your job? He said that my boss, I think, is not happy with me and he might kick me out. Okay, I said, let's look at that. Let's look at that. So first I analyzed his personality, and he was more of a hardworking and a judgmental person. Judgmental in a sense that idealistic person, not judgmental per se. That, okay, this should happen in a certain fashion. If this is not happening, that means that means things are wrong. Okay, this was his frame of mind according to his personality type. So I
Mm-hmm.
looked at his cards and I said that, hey, look, your goal is to excel, and I can see an opportunity which might come up in your profile here. But do not really jump into that and do not accept that. You may go and attend the interview just to check your own market value, you know,
Mm-hmm.
but do not sign any paper, do not make any commitment till you have done a background check, because chances are that you might end up in a bigger soup. Okay. So now that was one. And the second, I checked the situation around him. I said, look, I know you're concerned about your boss's approach towards you, but please understand that your boss is also an employee in the system. He will have another set of problems. Your bosses have to deal with their superiors, their peers. They have an additional target of your performance. So please do not be judgmental and just make an outright statement that boss is bad. In fact, I told him that your boss is going through some certain challenges, and that's the reason why even he's falling short of resources right now. So I recommend you that please go to him, go with a solution mindset, tell him that what is bothering you, and tell him what is that you need and how you could make a difference, and see how it
Mm-hmm.
happens. After 6 to 8 months, this guy called me up again and he said that, hey, you know what? Actually, you were right. I did go to that interview and I got through to know through a friend that this is not going to be fruitful for me in the long run. And I also went and spoke to my boss, and the boss appreciated that I came up with a solution mindset. And now I'm having a better project to work on. I'm also having a promotion within 6 to 8 months that happened. So now coming back to the goal setting part, if I have to link to this, often what happens is that we want to run behind certain goals which we set for ourselves, which possibly other people have not made demands. We have that urge, we have that ambition to reach somewhere or to do something, that मुझे ये चाहिए, मुझे ये करना है. The question is, you may end up doing it, you may complete the project, but the
Mm-hmm.
question, after the goal is achieved, are you really prepared, or will you be comfortable with what follows later?
Very important. Are you ready? That is important.
You may really break your head for landing up for a deal with a particular ideal client,
Hmm.
only to realize that their values and your values are not matching later on. And there is where tarot can also come into picture. Just yesterday, in fact, one of my clients called me and said that, there are two clients we are trying to track,
Hmm.
and which one is the most beneficial, where should I go? I said go
Hmm.
with client one, because there you might feel that there is some certain discomfort in the beginning, but in the long run, provided you have all your agreements in place and you
Hmm.
have your scope defined in a watertight manner, things should be all right. Whereas a second prospective client, they may be a sweet talker, but eventually you might not end up getting the financial considerations that they've promised you. So please make sure you are also supposed to work with parties where the values and goals and everything are aligned.
How you check? Because when you are claiming this thing, you are not getting financial, that kind of thing. It's
Mhm.
about, you have to check, you have to research. R&D should be there. So through
That is
tarot,
visible on the cards. The cards
uh,
give you the answers.
okay,
And
yeah, it's like a 20-hour thing. Yeah.
in most cases, what happens is the card show me something, and the client says that, hey, I had, मुझे ये वो लगा ही था मुझे ऐसे ही होने वाला है.
पता नहीं,
So
but I have trust issues, and like अंदर से gut feeling, but yeah, जैसे आपने बोला that try it out, that kind of mindset I can think about, think about that part. Yeah.
And of course, having said this, there's a disclaimer I'd like to give that while
Mm-hmm.
this entire field of occult science is growing,
Mm-hmm.
individuals should not only and only depend upon astro and tarot, because your own inherent skill of decision making should not get diminished. It should not get
Mm-hmm.
compromised. So tarot should be as a validation factor, as a confirmation factor, or a factor to give you some red flags before certain things happen. But
Mm-hmm.
then there are certain people, there was one particular client where I read for her once, and I had her calling me messaging me every day that, hey Mitakshara, I want to do this. What will happen? What will happen? What will happen? And for the same question, she was asking the same question over and over again.
Mm-hmm.
So for that, now here is where I say that, what, tarot, with the help of tarot, we identify what will happen and what is the uh, factor supporting you and something which is opposing you. Now, after you have got these answers, it is now your responsibility to work tangibly towards it.
Mm-hmm.
And that is where, when you say trust
Actually.
issues, yeah, it's okay. People have trust issues. So I say, my only suggestion to anybody who signs up for a session with me is like, what? Please come with an open mind, a pen and a paper to write down the points that I'm going to come up with during the session, because some things may not work immediately for you, some things may not make sense immediately, because we as human beings are resistant, right? We are resistant, we don't want to accept certain things. My only
Yeah.
suggestion, my only request to them is that please write down the points, even if they don't make sense to you. Focus on the keywords, reflect back, ruminate over some things, and then think about how things are matching your situation. And in
Yeah.
most of the cases, people have actually messaged me and said that, hey, after 5 days, 10 days, that Mitakshar, I did some self work. I worked on something, and yes, things are making sense. Some things which I was not able to understand myself. Tarot has helping me to actually identify that, hey, yeah, this is actually happening with me, and that is
Amazing.
how deep I connect everything together, rather than just giving answers like, hey, this will happen, this won't happen, you will get a job here, you will get a job there. No, I do not only work on predictions, I work on deep transformation.
Wow, I mean, that is very important, because transformation with science, with real decision making, that is really take ahead. Now, Mitakshra, if I ask you any three key lessons, if you want to give, last lesson you want to give to the audience, what three key lessons?
About goal setting.
Yes, about
Okay.
goal setting.
So number one, like we said, this is just to like reiterate on whatever we've mentioned, that while setting
Mhm.
goals, I didn't that why, which is there in that S, the specific why is very important. Why do you need to do that? And if you're a business owner and if you're setting goals for the organization, it will be a good idea for you to involve those people by explaining them the why, so that they will be better attached to those goals. Without telling the why, they will be like, "Acha, boss ne bola hai, so we have to do it." That doesn't really pull out the real motivation. So share, understand the why, evaluate and share the why, the answer of why we need to do this with the people. First one. Second is please set your goals according to your resources and constraints. Don't be in a hurry to achieve something just because your peer or your competitor has done that. Goals should not be set in revenge or fear of missing out. There should not be FOMO, anxiety, greed, revenge, anger while setting goals. You always need to focus on the holistic aspects while setting goals. And lastly, some things I have actually gone through this, that sometimes you may set goals that, hey, I want to achieve this, but in due course of time you realize that I may have set these goals, but these are really not aligned with my deep rooted values. It
Hmm.
is okay to
True.
change your path. Don't be so hard on yourself. It is okay to change your path sometimes. If it is happening all the time that you set a goal and then you deviate, then there is a problem in your deep rooted understanding. There is where your values and beliefs need to be checked. That is where you're not concerned, because that is where you're confused and you are not confirmed what you want to really do. Because ऐसे भी लोग आते हैं, they ask me when will I achieve career success, and then when I look at their career trajectory, out of 11 years they have changed their job for 8 years, and one in digital marketing, one in medical representative field, one into international business, one in banking. So these are like varied interests. So it's like if you're like a rolling stone, you're never going to get gather moss. So changing goals by some deep research is one thing, and changing goals frequently is a sign of extreme weakness, which needs to be checked.
Clear focus is very important. Thank you so much, Mitakshara, for sharing so much value on this platform. And yes, friends, please follow Mitakshara. And yes, if you want to connect, you can connect her. What kind of questions you want to ask? What kind of topics further you want to have on this live telecast session? You can let us know in the comments. Thank you so much, Mitakshara. Any last lesson for the audience? Any last message? Then we can wrap up.
Last message is, in the VUCA world, that is volatility, uncertainty, complexity, ambiguity, please make sure you recognize your own values and beliefs. Because I read in a book called Built to Last that organizations which sustain are always going to stick to their core values rather than deviating them just in the pursuit of achieving something which the competitors or the world is achieving. So stick to your core values. That's it.
Awesome. Thank you everyone for watching. Share with your friends, colleagues, and we are going to have more such exciting sessions with expert speakers. पावरफुल सेशन था राइट. अगर आपने एक भी इंसाइट पिक की है, डोंट जस्ट वॉच, अप्लाई इट. हमें कमेंट्स में बताइए आपने क्या सीखा, क्योंकि क्लैरिटी बिना एक्शन से सिर्फ पोटेंशियल है. कमेंट करके बताओ आपका करंट गोल क्या है और आपको किस जगह क्लैरिटी चाहिए. और अगर आपको ऐसे रियल डीप कन्वर्सेशंस पसंद हैं, सब्सक्राइब करो इस चैनल को, शेयर भी करो उन लोगों के साथ जो अपने गोल्स को लेके कंफ्यूज्ड हैं. अगर ऐसे रियल और डीप इंसाइट चाहिए देन सब्सक्राइब टू दिस चैनल और कमेंट करके बताओ आप नेक्स्ट टॉपिक पे डिस्कशन देखना चाहते हो, वो टॉपिक क्या है. दिस इज कोच श्वेता बजाज रिमाइंडिंग यू क्लैरिटी इज पावर. सी यू इन द नेक्स्ट सेशन.